Welcome to Kelly and Company, and on today's show, gadgets and gizmos aplenty. Steve Barclay of Canadian Assistive Technology shares his treasure trove of independence devices. I wonder if this is anything like Mr. Dress-Up's tickle trunk.
This is Kelly and Company.
And with me today, Nisreen Abdul-Majid. Welcome, and how's your day starting out, Niz, as we got a shorter week with being away on the Monday?
Pretty amazing, because you just quoted Little Mermaid, so I love that.
Oh,
Gadgets,
good, did I?
Gizmos, and plenty.
Ah, that's where that comes from. See, I thought it was familiar. Oh,
so it wasn't on purpose.
No, well, it was on purpose.
I was so proud.
It was put into the script and the tee up, but again, it's one of those things that seems so familiar to me that I just always assume, oh yeah, that's life, because I mean, people say things in that fashion, and I don't all the time, I guess, unless I really am into something, a show, a movie, a quote, necessarily know where the heck it came from. But you knew, filled us right in.
Yeah, absolutely, because it was one of my favorite movies.
Why?
Why?
My dad liked it too, but he liked those kinds of things to watch with the kids.
No, it was just like the catchy songs, all the Disney movies, it gives me nostalgia, like Cinderella and Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, like all the Disney princesses. Just gives me those nice tingly feely of like those memories growing up.
So I like Cinderella. I had the stories read to me, the fairy tales read to me as a kid, or nursery rhymes. People would read those, but I will confess that I was probably always a Disney hater as a child. I felt,
no way.
I felt Disney World was boring. I would not follow all these characters. I was a big poo-poo of them. I was like that though with the Mickey Mouse Club too. I was not someone who wanted. That's just foolish. That to me had no interest.
You know what?
It's boring. No one's getting beat up.
It's to this day, I feel like I'm always the type of person that likes to watch movies with happy endings.
Oh.
And that's why I really love those Disney movies, because it gives you that ending that you would expect. It's happy, it's bubbly.
And I kind of like that. I agree. Like, I kind of like that. I think it's the characters just didn't grab me. I almost took myself too serious at like 5 years old. Oh, that's silly. Like it was really weird. I kind of thought, now who wants to hang out there and carry on a lot about, princesses and kings and guinea pigs and bears. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Who wants to talk about bears and such things like that? Maybe these people over at Fox 30 Orlando, because two Florida black bears broke out on a fight on the back porch of a neighborhood home. Now we're cooking. This could be Disney. I wouldn't mind. There's a brawl going on here. This was all caught on video, so you can find it online. Shows a large black bear walking onto the backyard porch. A few seconds later, another black bear appears in the right-hand corner of the video, slightly off the porch and into the backyard, Nisreen. The bears look at each other, give the evil eye before beginning to attack each other. Oh my. The bears hit and knock over a potted plant. As the fight goes off the porch, Murphy, who took the video, said, who actually lives in the Sable Point area of Florida where this all occurred, said she wasn't surprised by the burly visitors, a couple of thugs looking for change. Believe it or not, she says, I have video footage of all kinds of animals on my back porch and in my backyard. She said, otters, alligators, knew they'd show up, it's Florida, bears, as we just talked about, and bobcats even. She says, my house is like a zoo. So at what point would Kelly be moving? ASAP? No, that's not true. I would never be there, Niz. How about you?
Yeah, no way. Absolutely not. I would run. The fact that she's like, oh, it's just another day in Florida at my house.
That's crazy.
There's no shock to this. It's pretty insane. I would not, especially with like a bobcat, alligator. Honestly, I'm more scared of alligators than bears at this point.
Yeah.
But what type of, I forgot, what type of bear is it, is the one that you have to like stay frozen or play dead
Well,
for
you're
it to be
supposed to
okay?
really, with any of them, to a degree, and move
But can
quickly,
you imagine?
or be big. Sometimes you have to be big, and hopefully, if it's not a mom protecting its young and says, "Well, I don't care how big you are, my kids are here, you get out." Right? You don't want to have to deal with that. But they used to
Yeah.
say all that stuff, play dead, and I'll always remember the old TV show Flintstones episode where they're running, and they yell, "Play dead," and he plays dead. Barney does, and the bear picks him up, sniffs him, and
Yeah.
then throws him off a cliff into the river. So
No way.
so
I
I don't know what you do. Like, I don't want them
no,
bothering you
no, I
either way.
can't. I can't imagine being put in that position where, the bear just comes close and I'm just staying still.
Playing dead. Like,
No,
he knows
no
I'm
way.
playing
I
dead,
would
or
be
does he think I'm
shaking
dead?
or I would run. I would not be there.
Well, it's funny to me because people get so upset about bugs, let alone those kinds of creatures wandering around the backyard. Like, you go out and sit for your coffee, and most of us will go when the mosquitoes are biting a lot, let alone when the alligators are biting. A California man has a similar bear incident that we'll tell you about. He comes home after a fire to find that a giant bear moved into his home. Okay, this is another Fox TV stations seem to have a thing right now about bears. Now, this man who was evacuated in the Los Angeles wildfires returned home to learn that a bear had held up in his crawl space. Sandy Arbin of Altada was lucky to learn his home had been spared the Eden fire. Good, good, that's great. But a new problem presented itself because this giant bear had held up in his crawl space. A local utility company was working to restore the power at his home, but found they were having a little bit of trouble getting access when they discovered a bear stuck in the crawl space where they needed to work. Yes, I would suggest quite a problem. But after assessing Arbin's crawl space and seeing the size of the bear, professionals knew we can't just tranquilize this guy. That's just not even an option. They had to resort, and this would get me out, treats. Now, not sure necessarily this feast would actually entice you, Nisreen. Rotisserie chicken. Okay, let's put a check
Ooh,
there, maybe. Sardines. Do you like sardines?
no,
Okay, down on
never
them.
did.
That you wouldn't be out for those. Tomato sauce, apples and peanut butter, but the tomato sauce with all that. Yeah. Now again, I get that it's scent, and of course the food once he's there. This was all used to lure the bear into a trap. He was taken out to Angeles National Forest and got a welfare check, a GPS collar, and was measured before safely being released. Well, well, well. Wonderful.
Well, well. Listen, I think this is your cue to find a new home because
Yeah.
I would not try to lure the bear out of the house. Again, I would be shaking. I wouldn't stand still. I wouldn't also try to lure the bear out of the house. No way. I'm a scaredy cat, man. I can't
I
be put
don't
in those
mention cats. Remember
positions.
those polecats running around in different places too. I think that when you talk about the luck of your house being spared when so many structures weren't through those fires, you go home, you're so pleased. People broke down,
Yeah.
obviously, if they lost their home, but also broke down finding their home. And you go inside and they say, "No, we're having trouble getting the electric on." Why? Because, oh, good
Oh
reason.
my God.
Wow. Folks, remember to
Um,
check out. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say that I'm terrified of insects, so I can't imagine, seeing a bear up close.
No, and that seems logical. We get upset about, well, I think most of us have our different things. So let's say we get upset about
Yeah.
everything. Remember to check out our podcast from your podcast platform of choice. While you're over there doing that, please give us a rating and a review if you would. If you live with a disability, chances are that you may have been on the lookout for some assistive technology of late. And it could be hard to know what's out there, number one, where to get it, number two, and of course, what you even need. Well, Steve Barclay, owner of Canadian Assistive Technology, is a one-stop shop for just that, ladies and gentlemen. Whether visiting the brick and mortars location that's in Vancouver or checking out their online superstore, their fantastic people are there to offer their support and expertise. Mr. Barclay, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks very much for having me.
So I want to begin with this. This is always what people say. How the heck did you start doing what you're doing? Now, again, we've had enough people on the program, Steve, that I probably the first thing is I assessed a need. But how did you feel as you decided, hey, this needed to be, you got into the field of accessible technologies?
Well, I literally stumbled into the field of assistive technologies. I was an electronics technician, and I was sitting around waiting for a position to be created for me by Kodak, because at the time I was a color laser copier technician, and this is 34 years ago now. And my roommate took my resume into what he described as a small company renting two rooms out of the back of the computer company he worked for. And and I said, "Wow, I want nothing to do with that whatsoever." But I ended up with a job interview anyways. And long story short, I ended up getting the job and stuck with that company for 25 years, 26 years maybe. That was Aroga Technologies, which out of those two rooms grew into probably the largest assistive technology company in Canada.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then that company fell apart due to an unscrupulous owner who embezzled a bunch
Mm-hmm.
of money and ran off to Australia.
Yeah.
So I started my company, I guess we're going on 8 years ago now. And it was largely because I just couldn't imagine doing anything else after having, done assistive technology that long. It really, once you get into the industry, it's pretty difficult to even consider leaving it.
So in Ontario, we have the ODSP system, which gives 25% when people decide who have disabilities and qualify for computer equipment and can run it through the assistive devices program. So we've got a really nice handshake where some people on assistance don't even have to pay a cent for their computer. Those who may be working, they cover that 25%. But this is due to the necessity of having this equipment. Now, before we get into some of the products and stuff like that, Steve, I'm more curious of what the system looks like, because as we're reminded here in Ontario, by far, does every province have a setup like that? We, with the setup, obviously can speak to vendors and kind of get an idea what's out there. We can go to CNIB and check out the Smart Life stuff. Is that kind of, other than someone walking in your doors, how are people hearing a little bit about this? Or is this really underscore the necessary need for you to be there to walk people through stuff? And what does your service look like regarding that?
Every province is a little bit different, and Ontario has one of the better programs out there. Ontario, Quebec, both have very structured programs around assistive technology. The rest of the country, not so much. In most provinces, there is support if you are or if you're in the K to 12 system, or if you are in a work situation where you need assistive technology. Outside of that, it's pretty sketchy. Most assistive technology has to be done by private purchase, and that can be difficult for a lot of people, particularly since assistive technology is oftentimes ridiculously expensive. Um, so we try and help with that as much as we can. We do have a payment plan option for AT, but a lot of people do struggle to get assistive technology outside of provinces where there is support.
Can you tell us about what the most requested assistive technology you have?
Yeah, that would have to be the low vision aids. With our aging population, macular degeneration is very, very common, particularly in Caucasian populations. So we see a lot of seniors coming in with vision loss. A lot of it is related to macular degeneration, and they just need something to help them magnify and read for day-to-day reading tasks. Whether it be trying to read a menu in a restaurant, or read their bills when they come through the mail. A lot of people need that visual support. 3-4 times
Hmm.
magnification, sometimes higher, and contrast enhancement to make things more clear to read.
Hmm,
Yeah.
fantastic. What are the range of items that you guys have, Steve?
We cover a lot of different areas. So we're best known for low vision and blindness, but we do a lot of stuff around computer access for people with physical disabilities. We do augmentative communication aids for people who can't speak. We have some products for the deaf and hard of hearing. And recently we've added some products for people with dementia, specifically around time planning.
Excellent. Okay. Um, how do you guys, before we get into a couple of the items here that we've got pegged off, want to kind of talk a little bit about for a moment, because they're really interesting as all of this is. I'm curious, how do you assess? I'm listening to when Niz asked you about popular item, what probably moves the most. How do you gather your data to know what you should have in the shop there ready to go if somebody walks in, or online right front and center for people to find to order? Because it does change. You've been in the business long enough. I'm assuming what would have been a hot button item last year at this time, maybe it may have fallen a bit, or even more so.
Yeah, we tend to go to conferences to see what's coming out, what's new, new out on the market. So upcoming in March, we've got the CSUN conference down in California, which is one of the biggest conferences in the world for assistive devices. When it comes to figuring out what we need in the store was a pretty new venture for us. We are a couple blocks away from the biggest eye care center in Vancouver. So we really focused in on our low vision products for the store. So we've got everything from, your simple handheld magnifier with a light through to the highest tech video magnifier, some of them with artificial intelligence now. But it's a constant process of renewing and refreshing your stock with new items as they come out, and trying to move out old items as they become less relevant.
Awesome. I want to name a couple here. Let's start with maybe the Carry Base, a clock for dementia. Describe this to us.
Yeah, I was curious about that one the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd been handling products primarily for communication from this company called Abilia in Sweden. And my wife's father originally, and eventually his mother, both experienced dementia. And one of the things that we were having trouble with was keeping them on track when they had appointments, so that they would, be ready to go on time. The Carry Base is an internet connected clock. So you have an app that you run on your computer. It's a web-based service that's free when you have the Carry Base, and you can do all of your scheduling of appointments through that app, and they just show up on the clock in the loved one's home. So you can, schedule all of their appointments and everything else. You can put reminders in. Hey, you've got to get dressed because we're going out in 20 minutes. So and so is going to come here to pick you up. You can schedule their day completely and do it all remotely. You can add, you can add pictures to the events, so that when an alarm goes off, there's a picture accompanying it. You can put recordings on it so that a recording plays when the alarm goes off. And all they have to do to dismiss the alarm is just poke the touch screen of the Carry Base itself.
That's amazing. Wow. Nizreen, weren't we talking the other day and wondering about the Bluetooth bed shaker? We all had our image and think, okay, I think we know what that is. This is for a deaf person. And primarily, I know originally I heard about it as something to alert someone if the fire alarm was going off, let alone if maybe someone's at your door or something. Fill us in on this, Steve.
Yeah, we have a variety of different bed shakers. The Vibio is a Bluetooth connected bed shaker that you would pair up to your phone. There's an app that runs on your phone, and you can set all of your alarms through that. And it's a little square that you put underneath your pillow, and when the alarm goes off, it vibrates. It's got a little fabric handle on it, and if you pull it once, it will put it into snooze, and if you pull it twice, it'll shut off your alarm. But we've also got other bed shakers that are connected to alarm clock receivers. So we carry a line of products from a company called Bellman and Simfon out of Sweden. And they make a number of different receivers and a number of different transmitters. So you pair your transmitter and your receiver, and one of them is the alarm clock receiver with a bed shaker. But you can pair that up to other types of transmitters like smoke alarms, CO2 detectors, uh, window and door openings. Uh,
That's great.
yeah,
That's
doorbells,
Wow.
you name it. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
when, go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead, Steve. It was going to ask you just about other things too, just in wrapping, but just finish your thought there.
Yeah, it's just so when the events go off, there's a vibration that comes through the bed shaker. There's lights that flash on the receiver as well,
Ah,
and there's a little indicator to tell you what type of event has occurred that you're being alerted about.
wow. So amazing. So much
amazing.
tech now. Steve, if people want to reach out, first of all, the store location in Vancouver and online, can we just quickly get that information so people can find you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are at 828 West 8th Avenue in Vancouver. That is one block north of Broadway. We're Unit 106. If you want to find us online, you can find us at www.canasstech.com. That's CANASSTECH.com.
Okay. And you're also involved in a podcast that is very well known. You guys cover so many different things involving the disability community. Let's give it a plug.
Yeah, that is the AT Banter podcast. You can find us at www.atbanter.com. And we cover all sorts of things related to disability and the disability community.
Awesome, Steve. So much to talk about, from the podcast to the stores, and just some of the things I'm sure you've noticed over the years from your experience back there with Aroga, and just technology and the community of disability that we serve. Thank you kindly for making time and coming on the show today. We'll do this again.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Steve Barclay, owner and expert in all things technology, joining us. Canadian Assistive Technology, of course. They have the physical store Steve mentioned, and you can also find them online. And everybody full of great knowledge and care that you get the right product to folks. Check them out at canastic.com, please. Okay, Nisreen, so many really cool things there to pick up.
Yeah.
I really find it amazing, and I know we only scratched the surface of it, and that's kind of like, unfortunately, what you end up getting into. But I love that people can just go now check things out. So really do that, ladies and gentlemen. That's a really great idea. Appreciate, again, Steve being with us on the program. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Kelly & Co. AMI. On Parasport Nation, host Alex Smythe spotlights upcoming parasport events in Canada and abroad, pulls back the curtain on how parasports are played, and interviews parasport athletes, coaches, and trainers. Let's check in with host of the show, Alex Smythe, as he joins us right now. Alex, welcome. We better get to what's on today, but I am curious, as Nisreen and I sit here middle of February, and you guys have been doing the show for now 3.5 months, like us. I think that, yeah, 3.5 months.
Yeah.
How's the evolving come in the way of, with the different things you hear about? Who do you think you get on most often? Athletes, coaches, builders, what?
Definitely athletes, especially at this point. We've been relying really on our network of contacts. We have a clearly a wide range of athletes that we, both Nathan and myself, are connected to. Nathan, obviously, being an athlete himself, a Paralympian, he has a ton of connections, goes to a ton of events. So it is really easy to pull somebody aside and say, "Hey, do you want to come and do our podcast? Talk about your story and your background." And so that's really who we've had on the most. But it is still a wide range. We have builders, we have researchers, historians, coaches. So it definitely runs the gambit.
Oh, that's
Yeah, you
amazing.
guys are
So who?
killing it.
Oh my goodness,
Oh,
aren't they?
thank you.
Who's on today?
Well, today it's another athlete, but we're going with a bit of a twist. Dr. Keely Shaw, a paracyclist on the National Cycling Program. We talk about her paracycling career, but also her work in sport nutrition and research. So we're talking about, research for parasports and para athletes, as well as nutrition, and how there's a lack of research done, especially in para sport and disability sport, and all the variables that are really at play when you start to dissect research and sport with folks for folks who have disabilities.
Oh, that's great. Wow, so cool. And I think that's the power of sport and what we're saying to others, especially when we look at people. And I know everyone needs to be kind of inspired to do sports. During the summertime, I noticed that with the Olympics and Paralympics, they had some cool things to bring accessibility. And you guys have a wonderful guest on board, and something that so many of us, what liberty it can bring to us, what freedoms potentially at sporting events. What's going on Friday's show?
Yeah, so we're still determining whether this is going to be Friday or next Tuesday's episode, Kelly, just because we kind of do some block recording sometimes. But we also are going to speak either on Friday or Tuesday the founder of One Court, which creates an accessible device to allow blind and visually impaired folks to attend sporting events, feel a part of the action, and follow along in the various sports, from basketball to hockey to all sorts of different ones. It's a really fascinating device, and people will just have to tune in to find out more about it.
You can find Parasport Nation in the second half of our show on Tuesdays and Fridays. Alex, thank you for being with us. You can also find it available as a podcast and on YouTube. Folks, I just want to give you Steve's website once more. That's canastic.com. CANASSTEC.com. Folks, you can email us at kellyco@ami.ca. And call us at 1-866-509-4545. On the next show, new research from Robert Half reveals that professionals have either started or are planning to start searching for a new job at the first half of this year, while some say they're open to a new role only if the right opportunity arises. What is the right opportunity exactly? We find out with Michael French from Robert Half Canada tomorrow. I'm waving at you.
Thanks for tuning in to Kelly and Company. Follow us on all social media, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more.